FTX was planning for the end of humanity. Does that seem normal to you? This is Around the Blockchain. Thank you for joining, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button because we got 4 phenomenal guests today. We're going to go ahead and lead with T Shroom, who just jumped in seconds ago. He may look like Toadstool, but don't worry. Psilocybin is going to take effect, and he's going to emerge from the cocoon stronger and smarter than ever before. There he goes. T Shroom, how goes it?
Oh, man, it goes really well. I'm doing better than I deserve. And, man, just happy to be here. And I've got some cool NFT stuff going on in the back.
Got a little Claymate there. All right, good stuff. Also on today, we have Miggy Crypto. And Miggy, how goes it today? What does the rest of your shirt say for those who can't see it?
What's up, y'all? It says WTF is Bitcoin, book written by one of my friends. You can look it up. It's on Amazon. But
all right, give your friend a shout out. What's your friend's name?
His name's Paul Bruno. He
all
wrote
right, Paul.
a small book called WTF is Bitcoin.
All right, Paul, you better be watching. You better hit that like button. Also on today, we have Crypto Blood. And he's going to be blowing smoke, but not up your you-know-what. He's just talking the cigar there. Crypto Blood, how are you doing today?
What's up, bro? Good to be on a Friday episode. Got my man Hotep with me. It's about to go down, ladies and gents.
And Hotep, and a phenomenal hat. Hotep, is there anywhere they could find that hat?
Yeah, this is a Trump hat, man. This is MAGA merch right here.
Is that one of the OG hats?
HotepJesus.com. No, this is the new one. You don't see the 47?
Ooh, 47. That is right. No longer 45, folks. All right, well, let's talk about 1 hour long Bitcoin block. Actually closer to an hour and a half, 93 minutes. For those who don't know, that's how long it was between block sizes right there. Those who don't know, every 10 minutes, a Bitcoin block is mined. At the current rate, 6.25 Bitcoin is then released every 10 minutes. It's like clockwork. Well, every now and then, there's a little aberration. Including the one yesterday, took an hour and a half. We haven't seen anything like this in years. In fact, closest one last year, we had something come in at 83 minutes. Well, it comes out 0.0025% of the time. This is a thing that is going to happen. So you see a lot of FUD out there. People saying, oh, Bitcoin network experienced a delay. Bitcoin network is, all of a sudden crapping the bed. Not so much the case, folks. This is a semi-normal thing that happens. Well, T Shroom, it's not totally abnormal, like I was saying. It is pretty low odds, 0.0025%. Nothing, really too alarming. But I see people, the FUDsters, they're coming out of the woodworks. I see them coming out from behind that wall right behind you. Is this going to affect the price action any? Or is this, is this doing anything to the price? Is this one of the reasons we can't reach 31K?
Wow, it's a good question, DZ. I'd say that the general public is extremely undereducated on how Bitcoin mining works. And even more so, so that's the general public. When you drill in a little bit more into crypto investors, they have a tenuous understanding of what Bitcoin mining is, what crypto mining is. But even the investor class for crypto, they don't really understand the tokenomics and, hash rates and different things like that and what goes into mining Bitcoin. And they certainly wouldn't understand an anomalistic event like this that's being described in this article that went on and took about an hour for a block to be mined. So what I would have to say is that buyers and sellers of Bitcoin, it's going to take some time for them to process this event and understand if it's bullish or bearish. And I'd say that in that time, 100 other events are going to take place. So I'd have to say that overall, I don't see this event, as I currently understand it, I don't see this event really having too much of a role on the price of Bitcoin. I know that miners do have a big impact on the price of Bitcoin, but I think that their philosophy and kind of their approach to whether or not they're going to buy and sell right now is already set for the most part as the halving arrives. And so while this single event doesn't pose a significant threat in kind of my analysis, if there is a pattern of this event taking place, that could absolutely start to shock markets as investors and the general public begin to understand what this could mean for Bitcoin mining and what this could mean for the Bitcoin system as a whole.
Speaking of pattern, anytime I see you say, I can't help but think of our similarities there, T Shroom. All right, well, Miggy Crypto, I'm looking online, I'm on Twitter, I'm on crypto Twitter. I'm seeing, any criticism of Bitcoin, whether it's this event or something else, whether it's block times just in general or just the block size even, is met with mocking. It's met with derision. It's met with, tell me you don't understand Bitcoin without telling me you don't understand Bitcoin. It's always met with jeers and really no honest debate here. Is this all FUD? Is this all, is this trolling? Or is this, can people have a valid concern about Bitcoin without being attacked? Is that always going to be the case? Muted.
I think that's just social media. The way the current state of things are. We got a lot of trolls online because people have the backing of a computer screen, so they're free to say whatever they want. But I think there's a little validity to it. I think at some point people will be able to share their concerns about it and then not be ridiculed. I think the people that are ridiculing others are the ones that really lack knowledge and kind of understanding in the technology and how things work. And so it's easy to criticize something when you know absolutely nothing about it.
All right, and we actually have a graphic. You can see the timestamp here for the Bitcoin block. So I think F2 Poll had one there. You can see it 14 hours, 57 minutes. And then the one previous, though, 13 hours and 22 minutes. So a far cry from the 10 minutes right there. But all right, well, Crypto Blood, at one point, as we go further, next halving, it'll be 3 1/8. Then it'll be 1.7-ish. Then it'll be 0.85-ish. Then further and further we go down the line, less and less Bitcoin is going to be created. At one point, it will take over a year to mine just one Bitcoin. Sure, over a century from now. Does that sound realistic to you? Can Bitcoin sustain that? Can the electrical costs validate, all that effort just to make one Bitcoin?
Well, first, Miggy's shirt couldn't be more applicable. Like, what the F is Bitcoin? Because it took an hour and a half for it to figure out what it was. I mean, come on now, ladies and gents, what is going on? I personally think mining Bitcoin, we have an issue and it's far off. We'll all be dead unless Neuralink is around and we can extend our life expectancy. But I think that Bitcoin mining is definitely a problem towards the end. Like it's got to be worth millions and millions of dollars for it to be some economic incentive. And that's one of my main concerns with Bitcoin in 100 years or so is that, who's going to be there to secure the network? Security is everything. And if there's no economic incentive to do so, then there may be an issue there. So, people that are Bitcoin maximalists need to at least understand that when you're talking about saving Bitcoin for generations, right? For your grandchildren's grandchildren. So that's just something that people need to think about. And it's a real concern.
Yeah, especially as we get, maybe transaction fees will have to be I don't know, something we'll have to change though for sure. All right, well, Hotep Jesus, we have a current system of moving money. You're quite familiar with it. It's the SWIFT system. It can take days, to finalize it. Sometimes it can only take hours. But Bitcoin, it is only a 10-minute block time. Every now and then, maybe once a year, it takes an hour and a half though. Is Bitcoin block time of 10 minutes? Is that fast enough for the future of money? 10 years from now, is 10 minutes going to be, a decent enough time where we can get global transactions processing here?
I don't give a fuck. Let's start there. let's stop beating around the bush and counting hashes and all this shit. Let's cut all of that out, okay? Let's cut all of that out. We trying to cash out. As long as Bitcoin does what I needed to do long enough, I don't give a shit. Because everything's just a game out here. It's a whole bunch of games, and either you putting your ducats up or you're not. Now, here's the thing. Are we traveling into DeFi? DeFi is going to be a nice little place to be. Am I going to be a part of that? Absolutely. So the problem is with Bitcoin maxis, it seems like they don't want to touch the DeFi. But every time I see one of them motherfuckers, they touching the DeFi.
All right. Well, a refreshing dose of honesty there. I think at the end of the day, 99% of people agree with you. Just maybe only 1% are, brave enough to admit that there. All right. Well, let's talk about Gensler. Gensler's greed. He is asking, I think we actually have a clip of him. This is from the committee yesterday, him asking for more money. That is a direct clip taken from there. Well, each year, the SEC chair, they request an increase of their budget. shockingly, they never stay the same or go down. But every year they need a little bit more money. They have to go in front of Congress, hat in hands and say, hey, you got to increase my budget a little bit. Well, 2023 fiscal year, $2.13 billion, 2.1. This time he wants a little bit of a raise, almost $2.5 billion. They're going over about $350 million increase there. His reason, well, he's citing non-compliance as the reason he needs more money. Could we show that clip one more time of him asking for more money? That's a young Gary. It's a young Gary, if you're wondering where all the hair came from there. But here's his quote. We've seen the wild west of the crypto markets rife with non-compliance. I'm pleased to support the 224 request of $2.4 billion for operations to put us on a better track for the future, folks. And I looked it up, 750 enforcement actions over the past 12 months. Looks like they levied about $6.4 billion in fines. So the operating costs, about $2 billion. They levied $6 billion in fines. So I don't know if everything was paid. That data is hard to find. A $4 billion surplus there. But $4 billion surplus, T Shroom. That's, some would say, a significant amount. Maybe it's pocket change to Elon Musk, but to me, hey, maybe a little bit more than I have. $4 billion surplus. Would you say the way he's running the SEC, is it a success or a failure?
Well, look, DZ, I really think that the way that he's running the SEC right now is he's trying to be a leader to a group of people working with an organization, and I think that he's letting the hens run the hen house, right? People say, he's gonna let the fox run the hen house. I think he's letting the hens run the hen house. He's trying to just keep a smile on the faces of the folks working there at the SEC, because he just made everybody look absolutely crazy by losing the case to Ripple, right? This was an extremely long and drawn out case. They probably thought that they were going to win this at the beginning, and then it became clear over time that no, they were not going to win it. And of course, they did not. In the public's view, I know that there's some asterisks to that, whether or not they fully won, fully lost. But in the public's view, especially within the crypto community, they lost. And you turn around, if you're Gary Gensler, and you see an organization that's laughing at you in a moment where your job is probably fairly fragile. So it makes sense that he would turn to the government and say, hey, can we get at least some money so that we can get some better copy sweeteners and keep some smiles on faces around here? So I think that that's probably a little bit more of what's going on here. If there's some department heads that want to bring in some friends to come work with them, it's like, okay, well, now we have the funding so we can make that happen. Smiles remain on faces, the wheels keep turning, and Gary stays in power. And the interests that want crypto to be suppressed and oppressed and not grow to its full potential, their smiles are also staying on their faces.
All right, a little extra money for the Splenda and maybe some bloated middle management mids. Hey, my buddy from college, he's really good at this job. All right, well, Miggy Crypto, we got pretty serious money being made, $6.4 billion. So I understand, T Shroom kind of threading the needle there. On one end, hey, it looks pretty good, but there's a specter hanging over Gary Gensler, despite the $4 billion surplus. It's a curly-haired kid by the name of SBF. His trial is set to begin in 3 months. Will the SBF, Gary Gensler, all their secret meetings, will that drama overshadow the job he has been doing?
I think when more information comes out, I think it can, and it should, because, what we're learning with the blockchain is that accountability and transparency is everything. And when you have a lot of money that was, generally moved out of people's accounts and somewhat, stolen, there's going to be questions brought up, and, the source of these answers is right in front of us. And when everything really comes out, I think it's going to hurt him more than he realizes. But we'll see,
Yeah, we'll see. Especially as that courtroom. I want to see it on court TV. I want to see all that televised there. All right, well, Crypto Blood, where should, a lot of people are saying, hey, SEC, you don't even know what the hell you're doing. You're looking at that guy. You should have been looking at this guy. You need to ignore these people. I don't know why you're looking at that guy with the microscope. Where should the SEC's attention be devoted to if you were running it?
Wall Street, baby. Wall Street. They're the biggest criminals. And it's so crazy because when I saw that Netflix documentary with what's the guy name? I'm drawing a blank.
Bernie Madoff.
Bernie Madoff. He took all that money, right? I didn't realize that the SEC had numerous whistleblowers come to them saying, hey, you need to look at this guy, Bernie Madoff. And they ignored it. And I'm just like, you know what? This is the pattern. I see it now. They come in after the fact, and helping people after they lose money is meaningless. It doesn't do anything, right? So you need to be proactive. And that's what a lot of people are complaining about with the SEC. They're too reactive instead of proactive. Now, the one thing you have to, in this article, the operative line here is that he said, I'm pleased to support the president's fiscal year 2024 request for 2.4 billion. So I'm thinking, DZ, this is actually something that's coming from the White House and Sleepy Joe, you know, snoring all that, you know what? I think that is really where all of this is coming from. It's not coming from him. See, he's the puppet. So people got to really understand who's controlling the show. And don't forget, the White House had an initiative last year, and they said, we're putting a task force together. All these agencies, you need to come together and really clamp down on crypto. And so that's what's happening here, bro. It's the White House, Sleepy Joe.
Looks like they went from rolling out the red carpet for SBF to maybe rolling up a dollar bill in the Oval Office. All right, Hotep. Hey,
Excellent.
Hey, is that a Ross? That was with that R word family there. We can't say that. All right, well, Hotep Jesus, there's this human psychology component that I think, you know, people always latch onto when it comes to politics. That's the grass is greener. It's always going to be better. When my guy gets in, things will change. Or when that guy gets out, the next person's going to be, you know, significantly better. Rainbows are going to come right out of their crack. Well, will the replacement be a savior for crypto, or are we just going to see more of the same whenever he's inevitably kicked out?
Well, you're not going to see more of the same, but you'll see more of the same, meaning he's going to give you more of the same, but just a different style, right? You're going to just get a different personality, different take, a different way of delivery, like Barack Obama, right? Like everybody loved Barack Obama.
So he's going to, the new guy will smoke Newports, is what you're saying, and wear a tan suit.
Virginia Slims.
Got him.
Oh, he didn't smoke Virginia Slims. Don't do that. Don't do Barry like that. Don't do Barry like that.
You know, so, you know, Obama was loved, right? He was loved. And you could have somebody that's not loved, like Bush wasn't loved, right? So Gensler, you know, he just looks like the guy of The Simpsons. It's just like, he just looks real slithery. He looks like a lizard, looks like he's got a tail. Like he just, you know, he just can't be trusted. But I mean, his replacement, you know, it's sort of like Vanderlip and Abram Piot Andrew. Vanderlip was assistant secretary under McKinley, and the other cat, Pewitt, I forget who Pewitt was under. But basically, both of these guys was at Jekyll Island. And they're going to have a guy that used to be with the president and a guy that's about to be with the president. Because I think he comes a few years later, he ends up as assistant secretary to Treasury. So there's always going to be a government agent involved. And why? You got to ask yourself why. Well, it's gangland out here. That's what this earth is. This is gangland. If you haven't figured out, you know, what it is, then you're a victim. You know, you may need to fucking get a therapist or something like that. Okay. But that's the bottom line. We're in gangland right now. So if there's a dime bag getting sold on the blockchain, they want in, and they're going to send somebody to come get in. The question is, what will people do when they come for DeFi? That is going to be interesting to see.
Maybe the last stand for any kind of freedom of money and freedom of exchange and freedom of exchange of ideas even. All right, well, let's talk about FTX. Speaking of Jekyll Island, human hybrid chimer. No, we're talking about FTX. They had secret plans for a bunker. I think we might even have a clip of what they envision it might look like. Well, FTX, a little background, FTX is suing SBF and other executives for $1 billion. They're suing, say, you misappropriated our funds. You didn't spend our money well. So FTX going after the old C-suite. Well, the details involve the FTX Foundation. Some of the executives, SBF, his brother, looked like they were using it as just a slush fund for hobbies. I don't know how else to describe it. Well, the nonprofit arm, FTX Foundation, they promoted, remember, effective altruism? Well, part of that was an interesting choice. They wanted to buy an island for the end of humanity in case 50% or 99.99% of humans die. They wanted a plan B, folks. It gets a little bit worse. It's the island of Nauru. It's 12,500 people located in the Pacific Island above Northeast Australia. But also on the island, this is serious, folks. This is from the lawsuit. They wanted to build a lab for human genetic enhancement, folks. They wanted an island. They wanted a bunker, and they were planning in case the apocalypse came. They wanted to play around with your human genome. How does this feel? Now, Hotep Jesus, do you have any plans in case of an apocalyptic event? And do they mirror what FTX and his Sam and his brother Gabe did here?
No. Mine involves a lot of guns and a lot of looting. And then so I figure I would loot the gas station first. You know, you asked me what I would do.
3 points for that. All right.
You know, we got to loot the gas station first. I need at least one or two gas trucks. We're going to need some snacks and some cigarettes and some roll up.
You got to have some flat screens, man. Katrina, we got to have the flat screens.
Nah, we don't need no flat screen. See, you messing with these black people, that's where you go wrong. You know what I'm saying? They have you out here going to the Nike store. I'm not going to the Nike store. I need gasoline and cigarettes.
That's so early 2000s, 2020. We go to Versace stores. We go to luxury stores. That's where we go in 2020. That's what the videos I saw. All right, well, let's see. I'm gonna ask you this, Crypto Blood. The island of Nauru, it's kind of known as a tax haven, tax shelter, where the wealthy park a bunch of money and then they hide it from authorities. Do you think that was a coincidence, or was that maybe involved in the decision making?
Surely involved in the decision making. But you know what I'm doing this weekend? I'm going through all the Simpsons footage to see if I can find a Jew, Afro Jew somewhere in there that says FTX on the shirt. He's got to be in there. You know, the Simpsons always has, predictions, right? This guy, I can't believe this, bro. I cannot believe they had these plans. It's just insane. This guy has to go under the jail. There is no way he gets off scotch-free. It's just not happening, bro. He's getting more years than Madoff. I'm telling you. He's going to do about 30 years, I said. About 30, 20, 30,
okay.
30 ball.
All right.
We'll do a 30 ball.
All right. Well, let's see how effective his soap holding is. Yeah, go ahead.
Daisy, you ain't let me finish my dream. I was still looting.
Yeah. Feel free. Go ahead.
I sent the squad out. My man's he gonna hit the gun store. So we're gonna make sure we lock down the gun store. So we're gonna have guns and gas, then we're gonna sell guns and gas. You know what I'm saying?
All right. They do say the currency is not gonna be gold, silver, it's gonna be brass and lead. T Shroom, go ahead.
But see, this is the key reason why I'm diversified into 9mm factories, is because you want to go ahead and already own that and have housing and bunkers already on those properties. If you're having to go loot them, you're in a disadvantaged situation, because all of these arms manufacturing and ballistics manufacturing organizations are all owned privately by military contractors who are sitting on them for this very reason, because the apocalypse. Have
here's the thing. Here's the thing with that.
Go ahead, Hotep.
Chat. Looks like we'll be raiding T Shroom's crib. We raiding T Shroom. We know who to get now. He right there on my screen.
I'll be at my crib,
bro.
Right?
Well,
I'll be in a helicopter in the first few hours.
You seem to
where that helicopter lands is where you'll want to be.
You have some knowledge of what things might look like if it hits the proverbial fan. Is this a misappropriation? Planning for extinction event?
No, I don't think it's a misappropriation at all. I just don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon. But look, investing in genomics is actually something I do as well. There's many publicly traded companies out there like Ginkgo Bioworks and CRISPR. ARK has an entire genomics ETF. This isn't new. We're doing genomics that's going forward. What's a little bit peculiar is why you would want to do it in your apocalypse bunker. I must say, as much as I've thought about prepping, I've never thought about that.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, maybe you got to develop those strong lungs to breathe that radioactive air. We don't know what this is going to say. I will say this: personal use, good use of funds. Probably, I don't want Binance buying an island to build a bunker, or Crypto.com or Coinbase. But me, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. I want you to do it at home as well. All right. Last question here, Miggy Crypto. What do you make of the lab for human genome enhancement? Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is this where we're heading inevitably anyways?
Man, I think if we take a look at history and we see when people are trying to do something, in the name of humanity and betterment, doesn't usually turn out that great.
Yeah.
So the fact that, we have this lab being built to try to study human genetics and enhancing it, but overlooking the fact that there's a lot of things that we could already do, between the things that we eat, the way we socialize, and our environment to enhance our own genetics already, for me is a bad sign. I don't feel too good about somebody else, trying to figure out how to make humankind better. Because, like I said, hasn't worked out so well so far.
Follow up, just a fun follow up. Miggy, is animal human genetic work ethical?
I just need to find the Anunnakis
I don't think
or
so.
the Anunnakis. That's what I need to find.
All
They
right,
can
all
help
right.
me
Well,
out.
let's
They're
go
out there.
around
They're all
the.
in Wyoming.
Should we be doing human
okay.
genetic enhancements?
Going there
T Shroom, should we be doing genetic enhancements for humanity?
Well, we've been doing them to plants for a very long time. I had a tasty sandwich with a tomato in it, and I must say, without the GMOs, we wouldn't have had such a delicious sandwich. For humans, it's a lot trickier, right? Because we're a much more complicated organism. But that's going to be for a lot of ethicists to decide. I think the first phase of it's going to be trying to cure things like autism and Down syndrome,
blindness,
things like prevent. I shouldn't say cure, prevent those things. And that's going to be widely accepted by the public. It's going to be in that gray area of development that we as a humanity have to decide, and it's going to be on a nation by nation basis. But we also have to take AI into consideration. We have to decide if we're going to let AI go ahead and start to reprogram our DNA, because that's where this is going.
Maybe. And I, for one, do like my GMO. I love my Monsanto corn. I can't get enough of my Monsanto corn. Crypto Blood.
Hey, it's good
stuff. Is human genetic editing? I mean, is this ethical? Is this something you think we should be doing?
I just told you the Anunnakis already did it to us. They genetically made us. So why not keep the pattern going here? So hey, it is what it is. It's gonna happen. The AI is gonna take over. Just sit back and smoke your cigars and weed.
All right, Hotep, same question. I mean, what do you think of the human genome enhancement?
The problem with the human genome advancement is I'm going to be the main target, because as soon as the Illuminati find out I have the God gene, they're going to become poking me. You see what I'm saying? So what I need is protection from the community to make sure when they keep, advancing with it, they don't never come for me. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and good God, I would love for the chat to hit the like button.
Like the smash button, guys.
Well, you know what, Hotep? You did actually end up winning this episode, so the evidence is, maybe pointing in that direction. Until we see contrary evidence, I'm going to go with this theory. Hotep, feel free. You end up taking it home. Leave us with some parting thoughts about any topic you like at this point.
Aliens was black. We're back. We're back. You know what I'm saying? We're taking over the blockchain. Gas, guns, and girls.
All right. Move over the grays. I guess it was the blacks. If you think this is the best episode we've ever had, please hit that like button. That's all I got, at least. All right. We're going to go back as we fuse human DNA with some plants or something, BJ. All right.